We ready? Hello, everyone. It's Tuesday night. It is actually our last second Tuesday PTA meeting. We have been asked by Donovan, who pulls a lot of weight in this town, to switch it to third Tuesdays from here on out so that what is it called? DNA, PEMDA, I don't know, something. The conflicting second Tuesday meeting in Potrero will no longer be a conflict. And it's funny because Donovan has asked multiple times. We ignored him. It was actually Rebecca G who asked. Sorry, Donovan. He's not here. He'll be watching this later on recording. We love
None of them really will be listening to this.
Anyway, that's going to be happening. The calendar has been updated and you will receive updates accordingly. Okay, español. Instrucciones aquí para ver subtítulos en español. Momentito, just give people a minute if anyone needs that. Okay, and proceed. As always, speed, questions in the chat, community spirit, be open-minded, especially when it comes to hot button issues like cupcakes and how they're spelled. Remember to mute. Okay, onwards. Agenda, I updated it this time. We're changing the schedule. There you go. Whoa, 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 whoa. What's happening? We lost
this
the
is just
agenda,
a schedule change. You spoiled my great schedule change slide by talking about the schedule change before the schedule change slide. But
couldn't have predicted that. Oops.
Anyway, I did last second as usual.
Back to the agenda, though. Back to the agenda. Back to the agenda.
Yep, back to the agenda.
You don't need to read it. It's just the normal stuff, except for one important thing, two important things, just like a fundraising update and a principal search update. But okay, that's it for agenda differences from normal. And proceed.
Great. I'm going to cover Tim's slides. Tim made a small mistake in the financing and accidentally counted more income than we had previously, but then we ended up making up some of that money, and then basically we're where we said last time. But anyway, we told him to get lost and never show his face again, so he couldn't make it tonight.
He's not welcome.
Yeah, exactly. You get one mistake around here. Yeah, so this is our normal slide where Tim talks about how much money we have remaining on our books and what we've decided to fund for fiscal year 2024, which is actually right now. And so it's a little bit uninteresting. It's just like there's cash on hand. We've got to make sure that we still have money required to fund the things that we said we were going to fund. And he's not worried about that. As we look ahead to fundraising for next year, the numbers to sort of look out for, well, there's two numbers to look out for. There's this number here, which is how much money we think we're going to get, but we haven't gotten it yet because somebody said there was going to give us money. It hasn't yet given it to us. And then this, which is not getting that, it's getting smaller. And so we've collected most of what we expected to collect from people who said they were going to give us money. There's a few companies in the community that owe us some money and they're responding. I think we're going to close this number in the next month or two. And then this number up here is what remains, right? And before the end of our fiscal year, this is not unusual. We usually are about $100,000 short or less than half, like 30 or 40% of our total goal remains in the spring quarter. And then we do some fundraising in the spring. I have a slide about how we're going to harass you for money in the spring, which we'll get to in a minute, but things are reasonably looking good to meet our $235,000 fundraising goal for this upcoming school year. So next I want to talk about the San Francisco Unified School District and how budgeting is changing. This is a big slide, I'm sorry. It's got a bunch of things on it, but this is how things used to work in the Unified School District. The SFUSD would fund two things. They would fund central services, library, music, nurses, social workers, janitorial. They fund central services that they provide directly to the school, and then they would give the school leadership a pile of money for everything else. How many teachers they have, how many support staff they have in various roles that are not the central roles. This is what pays for our SEL coach and our reading intervention specialist and so on. So they would give a pile of money. The school site council would say, these are our priorities for what we should and shouldn't fund, like generally. The PTA would kick in additional money to help meet some of those goals, and then a budget would be released for that pile of money. The school district is changing things this year, and it's kind of, they have this slide, and I'm on all these PTA groups on Facebook and SFUSD coalition. Everyone's trying to figure this out. But the short version is there used to be this decision point around the budget where you would get a pile of money as a school and you decide how to spend it. Now they're going to tell you how to spend a lot of it with a centralized staffing model. And there's the decision point is moved further down where the school has significantly less control over a bunch of the staffing decisions that are happening. They still have a lot of input into who is staffing those positions, but they don't have as much input into how many teachers do we have? Are we going to fund any additional roles? None of that can come from the school district fund anymore. So this is a big change. This change is in response to budget shortcomings. Like they think that this will be a cheaper way to fund the district overall, and it probably will be. It will result probably in a net loss of money for us though. And we have one more slide that is really specific. This is going to tell us what we get from this year. That's basically the same, which is this first column. We're still going to get 16 classroom teachers, a principal, a secretary, a social worker, some nurse coverage, art coverage, music, PE, librarian. That stuff is almost identical to what we would receive in terms of funding from last year. We also get a new position, which wasn't part of the budget this year. Used to be called an IRF or instructional reform something, I don't know. It's a coach that teaches teachers how to teach and helps with a little bit of curriculum. And the IRF has like 15 responsibilities. It used to be Susie and Anita years long ago in different years. There's a small chance that the district will actually fund a 17th teacher, which has nothing to do with budgets and funding, but more to do with how many students we have enrolled in various classes. It just may end up rounding up such that they feel like they have to come up with a 17th teacher for us. But it's close, and Rebecca and I are monitoring it and just doing the best we can to try to help influence that in a positive, but it's really not up to us. What's changed is that the district can't fund the school district's budget can't fund the things on the right. We can't fund lower class sizes. We didn't this year, but we couldn't. We still can't, or whatever. We can't have an SEL coach. We can't have reading intervention specialist and a part-time administrator. You can't fund the roles that are not listed in this centralized staffing model with the district's money. There is a small amount of money that they give you for incidentals and supplies and a variety of things, supplemental strategies here, that cannot fund people. That's, they can fund a variety of small things. It cannot be used to fund staff. So we're pretty sure the district can't fund these things. The good news is that I also was worried the PTA would not be allowed to fund these things either. And we are allowed to fund these things. So we are going to have decisions to make this year in a kind of interesting way that we've never had before, which leads me into our fundraising slide. And then I will hand this back to Rebecca. So we've got some more money that had come in that we were expecting, which is great. Every spring we do a fundraising push. We do it in the spring because we know how much money we need and exactly what we're going to get or not get. That last slide, we kind of know what we could or couldn't get with the money now. So we can make it very concrete for people. And we have several things going on. We'll have a giving week. The kids will be screaming. They were screaming last year at everybody. It was crazy. And there was an owl and there was music. And then there was a jump-a-thon. So we'll have giving day, giving week, close the gap, a whole bunch of stuff there to try to create a lot of interest in raising that last money, and expect a lot of emails from me, unfortunately, about how much we got.
And to the people who complain about those emails, to the people who every so often, and by every so often, I mean every year, someone complains about the scary emails. Well, strap on in, folks. David's going to be writing some scary emails in a month or two. That's just part of our jam.
Yep. And finally, I want to tell you that the way this works is we raise money as a PTA, and we don't know what we're going to use it for yet. We vote as an association. Votes are equal. Everybody participates in the vote if they want to. You do have to be a PTA member. We can make it free for you, or it's super cheap to join. Just make sure you've joined, and we'll have a process by which we can vote on budgeting options. We as a leadership team will create a set of all viable options. Sometimes it's very easy because there's very little viability, or we think we can fund everything that we want to, and it's boring. It's probably not boring this year. So good news and bad news, it's probably not boring. So votes may matter about what our priorities are. There's a lot of stuff that we could fund, just like usual, to discuss. So come on April 16th. That's going to be the big meeting. We might figure out how to do it in person because that could be fun. You know, I always wanted to do two meetings in person every year. This might be a good last one. Anyway, back to you, Rebecca.
Good idea. And thank you, David, for all of that info. It is really nuts and bolts important stuff for our PTA. And thanks for making it not sound horrifyingly scary. But I will say, like, it is scary. This is going to be a meaningful impact on our school. And I wish that I could come up with a solution to the 17th teacher problem, because I cannot tell you how much hinges on that. If we could get the district to pay for that role, it would just free up so much money to be able to fund other things. And we've been told to butt out, but you all know I ain't butting out of anything where I might have a possibility of affecting change, even if people are annoyed at Michelle. But basically, if we can convince them in some way that, like, we're going to have enough kids coming up to the 4 or 5 classes, which right now we have about 70 kids. The limit in those 2 Spanish immersion classes is 33 per class. And I am not great at math, but that puts us at 66 kids and we have 70. So we were like, great, the district is going to have to pay for this extra position. But guess what the district does? If they just have a few kids over, they do not open up that 3rd classroom. They just pay an extra little stipend to the teachers. And then you have 35 kids per class in the 4th and 5th grade classes, which is just so absurd. And, you know, I really do passionately feel like the district needs to take responsibility for this, for doing the right way. But, like, we don't have control exactly, but I will just tell you who's in charge of this: Principal Kath and Director Michelle, her oversight. So I don't know how much control they have, but I want to promise that I will be butting in and seeing if we have any hope. But the reality is it's going to be tough. Like, this is a tough one. And by losing that possibility, it's just going to limit our funds. So that's depressing, but I don't know. I'm not hopeless. Like, we also take for granted certain positions that we've had at the school that we actually haven't had for all that long. And so the school ran without them. It just is hard to see them go. And I saw a hand come up from Anna. Anna, what's up?
Sorry, I was meant to chat it, but I was just thinking how also ELAC can be a resource for English learners for the additional 17th teacher for 4-5, because we have data that states that our English learners and our Black and Brown students are behind, right? And then we have more than 33 students. I mean, having 22 is really hard enough for one teacher. And having 33, 35, it's just extremely difficult. And I mean, we have data. Like, if we just really, like, you know, be specific on the Latino and Brown students and all the students that are below proficiency, there's a big number there. And so
that is useful, Anna. That is, I might be calling you in on that, because that is like a meaningful data point that the district is saying this is important to them, and they're going to drop the ball on this. And I am just a little bit bitter because the district has been riding our coattails into these class size reductions that they should be responsible for, and we're raising money to do their job. So I'm a bit annoyed by it, but thank you, Anna, because that is another really strong argument of why they should be taking some responsibility. So thanks for that. I might hit you up.
And just something Rebecca said earlier, a lot like these support roles, and we're talking about reading specialists a little bit with Monica's question in chat, and SEL coach, like, a lot of this did not exist before 2020. So we are phasing out some temporary stimulus money that came out of a bunch of grants, and like there was this artificially large funding boost that is gonna not feel good. And like in the other way, it's not gonna feel good as people have a like slightly downsized San Francisco, right? San Francisco has slightly lower attendance and slightly lower residential tax base than it used to. So there just isn't quite as much money as there used to be. And then there was artificially way more money than there would have been normally. And so like we were in a year of plenty and it was great times. So I don't know, Monica, I'm not sure the district has ever funded reading intervention specialists. There is something called Title I, where they fund schools that are disproportionately serving disadvantaged students overly serving disadvantaged students, they will give large extra money to. That may be a federal program. I don't know if Title I is federal or state, but we are not Title I. A lot of the parent base these days, a lot of the demographics of Daniel Webster is affluent enough to support the students more with the parents' time than maybe it used to be. And so because we're not Title I, we don't get that extra set of money. And so we have to, I think that kind of makes up for some of those schools, because then they do get a large extra base. I don't know what they're allowed to spend it on. I hope they're allowed to bring in extra coaches and such. It doesn't matter because it's not us, unfortunately. Okay, Rebecca, we ready to move to the next channel? Feel free to put more budgeting related questions in chat. Rebecca and I have both spent a huge amount of time on this, and it's quite interesting and it's quite new. And all of the schools, leadership, PTA, everybody is learning about it at the same time. We had a bit of advance notice that things were changing because of our social networks, but really we're all learning the new rules, and we'll try to figure out things. I think if we look as a fundraising, sorry, I said I was going to turn it back over to you and I didn't. If we think about our fundraising strategy, I personally think it's about $400,000 to retain everything we have. And I do not think we're going to change our minds. I don't think we should raise our goal. I think we should try to be more of a public school and not fund everything that we possibly can to artificially inflate everything to the level we would like it to be through our own funding. So this is an association. You can tell me and Rebecca that actually we should just raise a ton of money and try to fill all these gaps. But I think we're trying to fill a middle ground between let's fund a few things, but let's not make it feel like a private school, right? Let's make it feel like a public school. So that's been the platform that Rebecca and I have tried to serve you all on. And we're open to feedback about whether we're doing the right thing. If you think we're doing the right thing, we're going to try to get that 240K, and then we'll figure out where to spend it.
And if you don't think we're doing the right thing at the end of this year, I will leave. I will leave the whole school if that's how sick you are.
Exactly. And if you are really happy with Rebecca, she'll also leave the whole school. Small problem.
All right. So a little update on this very, very big, important thing. So we are beginning a principal search process. So we are going to have a really big role as parents in this community on selecting our next DW principal. We had this opportunity over the past summer, but as a lot of you already know, the timeline was really messed up because, and I blame the district, always blame the district when you can. I blame the district for offering our beloved principal Max a really great promotion at the very end of the year, long after the principal search period. The pool was closed. So we didn't have the opportunity to do it in the normal timeline. This year we do, which just gives us access to a lot more candidates and a less frantic process. So that's already a win, but it is the same process in general of having a committee of a few parents, a few staff members, and those people interviewing the candidates that Michelle, our SFUSD director, sends to us from the pool. So principals, candidates, they dive into this pool, big old pool, and then individual schools fight for those candidates. So Michelle has assured us that she will be, on the lookout, sending the best candidates our way, and she'll hopefully give us some great people to choose from. But then these parents and teachers will really have a lot of power. So we will probably do something, David, you and I haven't even discussed this, but something similar to what we did last year, which was sort of just opening up a vote, letting people who are interested share their, a little bit about themselves, just literally kind of write a paragraph about what they believe and what's important to them and who they'll represent to be on that committee, and just doing a vote. We did it, I think, via just Google Forms last time, right, David?
Yep. We had people express interest in joining that.
Yeah.
I don't see a problem with that. I mean, we don't know how big the pool is. I think we expect it to be bigger, but Michelle has also hinted that they're changing the requirements to become a principal, and they're doing a more formal in-person interview through an interview panel. They changed things with COVID. It was remote, it was easier and shorter. Now it's a little bit more longer, and it's a little bit more in person. And intense the way it used to be. So that may reduce the size of the pool. It may also increase the quality of the pool, because you have to be really committed to doing it, and your skill levels probably has to be higher to get through that bar. So hopefully we'll end up with higher quality candidates as a result of the interview change. And because we're starting early, we'll get more candidates. Max gave us real bad news last year when he's like, the pool is really small. No, I don't know if he was giving us bad news because we did it late and then that's really kind of his fault too. Or is it just that there aren't that many people that want to do this job? Rebecca and I are recruiting a little bit, right? We're looking around for people who want to do it. You could help us if you know somebody who is a principal or wants to become a principal and is becoming admin certified, or is in the they have to be kind of in the process at some point relatively
Last year
soon.
we cold called up people we liked, but they had all been snapped up already was the problem. So we are aware, and I don't believe this breaches any confidentiality, that there are some qualified candidates already on the DW staff. So there are maybe one or two people on our current DW team who are trusted members of the team, current, that are newly qualified. So we will be really keeping an eye out for them, seeing if they're interested in the role and can get into this pool, which is the first requirement for them to be able to even apply for the job. So stay tuned on that, and be ready to make a lot of noise in support of anyone that we might know who we think is already doing a great job for our community. So stay tuned on that. That's as much as I'll say about that. When is this going to happen? I don't know. David, this is happening soon, right? Like Michelle said that this pool is happening in the next
in February or March. Yeah, exactly. The pool is happening then. Last year we did this all over the summer, so I imagine it'll be some sort of interview panel, but instead of that, it'll be in the next month.
And it'll be fast once it gets started. So just stay tuned, check your email. Obviously, you'll see all of the search stuff. We will flag that in a big way. This is a great question from Stephanie. I want to jump in and answer this.
Yeah, go ahead. Okay. So I think we're a little bit excited about somebody. There's two people on staff who are actually working on becoming admin certified because they're interested in this, expanding their career opportunities. Either one of them may or may not make it through becoming actually a viable candidate. And that has nothing to do with us or Michelle. That's like a district-wide process to be certified, to be capable of doing this role, to be fully admin certified to the point where you can be put in an interim role, at which point they'll be put on probation or something like that. There'll be this probationary period because they've never done the job before and so on. Now, if the one or two people that we're excited about on staff get through that process and aren't selected to be viable, we may have a bit of a problem. I don't think that's going to be the case. We've been working really well with Michelle. Rebecca was alluding to being cut out of this thing, but other than that, we're doing really, really well together. And I think I'm just really not worried at all about that. I think Michelle wants a viable candidate who's reasonably good and trusted by the school to make things work cleanly and easily. So as long as we think that there's a person that can do that, that'll be fine.
Yeah,
maybe we'll have several choices, right?
She's motivated to make it happen with a good match. But she's also, a rule follower, and, the world needs rule followers. But also, if we think that someone is really qualified, we can always make some noise and ask for exceptions to things, but let's not worry about that yet. I'm not concerned about that yet. I will tell you that if they make it into the pool, which they should, that Michelle has already made it clear that she wants to match make in a way that makes everyone happy. So let's not worry about that. And if we need to worry about that, you'll know. Next. Volunteers, special projects. Okay, Anna, this might be you.
Oh God, I didn't even do anything. I am so sorry, guys.
Okay, just tell us how the yearbook's going and how much it's going to cost and whatever.
Yeah. So actually, we need volunteers, especially for. I'm gonna start with volunteers first. We need volunteers for every grade level to be in charge of making their own page. And what that means is, gather we have folders with pictures. I will be emailing each teacher because I know our teachers take lots of pictures too. And so we will want the teachers' pictures to be in there included. And so you'll be in charge of creating a sheet for your grade level, making sure we have a presentation of Spanish immersion and general ed classrooms. The more the merrier. If the pictures have more than 2-3 kids, it's better for the yearbook. fifth grade. Do we have any fifth grade parents here? Before I jump and talk about just fifth grade, Rebecca, I you already know the drill,
I do
but
know the drill.
Jessica said yes. Carla says yes.
awesome, thank you. Okay, so we do need a few fifth grade parents volunteers. We need fifth grade parents to communicate with our arts teacher because the fifth graders are the ones that create the cover for the yearbook. So isn't that awesome? Their art will be displayed in the
Cool.
yearbook cover. We need a parent from fifth grade that also creates the page for baby pictures, right? So that parent will be in charge. I did that last year. Oh yeah, last year. And so reaching out to all the fifth grade families, asking for their kids' baby picture, and then they have a specific page. There's also the fifth grade mosaic field trip that they did, camp trip, and so a parent will be in charge of creating that one sheet. I'll be sending an email this weekend with all the details, and please sign up because the yearbook, it's a effort of everybody in the school to be part of and have your kids picture on the yearbook. The kids love to count how many times they come in the yearbook. I've seen a lot of the kids counting their pictures. And the yearbook, I think we said it was 30, 31. I emailed you guys. I can't remember. It was between 30 or 31 per yearbook. And if you are able to sponsor a kid that families have challenges and they're not able to purchase their kids yearbook, but the PTA helps us pay for the yearbooks for the entire school. But we also need us parents to purchase the ones that we can purchase and also sponsor ones that, we want to sponsor another student yearbook. And we'll be sending that documentation. Yeah, okay, $30. Awesome, thank you. And then we're gonna be sending on that a form that you can register and also make the payment through the PayPal or some type PTA website, so you guys can use your credit cards to make those payments. And I'm actually gonna open it up to say if there's any parents that they don't have access to technology to make the payments, I will be happy to meet in the front of the school to get the cash and then give this to PTA. And I'm going to keep a good tally of that because, right now, as we can see, we're in a not deficit, but we really need to get more funding to fund additional things, right? And so this will help us out. Carla?
Yeah, that's a good point, Anna, because if people don't buy the yearbooks at the rate we expect them to, and then the PTA has to make up the difference, like it's going to be even less money for next year. So that's a really good point.
Yes. Thank you, Rebecca. Carla, do you have a question or just letting us know you're fifth grader?
I was letting you know I was fifth grader.
Awesome. Thank you. So I'll be tapping into all of y'all for fifth grade volunteers.
Thank you, Anna, for your work on all this. It is a tough job, but the kids really do love it. So thank you so much.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Who we got from Green Team?
Hey guys. Hi. Let's see. Can you hear me? Yes. Okay, thanks. So the Green Team is doing our monthly kind of volunteer work days. We had one in the middle of the rain in January, but it was great because we were able to harvest some of the winter greens and plant some strawberries with the kids. And then we also added some of the trees and shrubs to the planters that are now decorating the outdoor cafe. So that's the update there. We have another workday taking place on Saturday. That's this weekend. Right now it's going to be rainy, so we're going to try our best to make some of a difference in the yard. We have some mulch that's getting delivered to the outdoor cafe on Friday, and then so we're hoping to sort of spread that out on that kind of dirt area that's been getting muddy with the rains on the sort of east side of the school. So I can send an email out to the PTA supporters, but just if you're around and have a good raincoat, hopefully we can see you Saturday. And if it gets rained out, we will have a kind of regroup on Sunday. So more to come on that. And then the last update was that some of the planters, there's some new blue planters there that you can see on the slide. Those were from an order from Principal Max's tenure. And so there's going to be some planters available to the classrooms and for kids to kind of do stuff with their classes. So that's the update. And if you'd like to join the Green Team, we have a little email list. So reach out to Rebecca or me and we can get you added. It's been really fun and I think the community is enjoying it. And please harvest some bok choy and broccoli and cabbage if you're around.
Is this a legit picture from Green Team, Jessica, with these kids and this bok choy?
Yeah, somehow it just kind of showed up that way when I pasted it from my phone. But yeah,
That's perfect. I can't believe how big it is.
Yeah, they are award-winning bok choy, I'm sure, if we had an award.
Things are really growing in there. If people haven't walked by and looked, like there's really a lot of cool stuff growing in there. It's awesome.
And fun to see.
All right. Thanks, Jessica.
Carla's got a question. Carla.
I do not. Some
Oh,
child
Keep
is
raising your
playing
hand,
with
Carla.
my phone. I know.
it's always
I'll
these
take your
children,
presents.
right?
Continuously maintain it up. Jessica Viviana really loved the bok choy picture, so she was trying to do an emoji. Is what she was trying to do. Instead, raise my hand.
It happens. It happens. Emoji malfunctions happen. So the good news is we're going to be ending this meeting shortly. We are into the easy part of just sort of reminders and things. So this is your usual all call for volunteers. These are just the links to the things we're still trying to keep going for the rest of the year. So take a gander, see where you can lend a hand. And lastly, merch. We always have merch available. Sally's coordinating. Sally, do you have any specific update or is it just the normal, like if you want something, let you know?
Yeah, we still have trucker hats and I think people still need to come pick them up. It's kind of been tough during the winter to coordinate, but yeah, I was hoping to maybe do more of a push in the spring once the weather gets a little better, and also during this circus night, which looking forward to that. So.
Circus night, perfect intro. Thank you, Sally. Moving into events. So guess what? This is just basically the last slide. Events coming up. The gardening day, work day that we just heard about. Wednesday, March 20th is the Jumpathon. That is an absolutely hilarious day to attend morning recess if you'd like. But the important big one, the final Rebecca run, circus night. And if you didn't know I'm a circus enthusiast, you should. It's going to be wild. There will be surprise performers. Get ready. Friday, April 26th, circus night. It's going to be amazing. May 6th through 10th, teacher appreciation. We have a talent show. Oh, some of you don't even know this. Ron Russo, our second grade indomitable teacher, he is phenomenal at producing this full student showcase of talent. And it's always a packed house in the cafeteria. So definitely put that on your calendar now for May 16th. It is hilarious, amazing, incredible. Get ready for that. And one thing we just added is we are doing fundraising through the SF Giants. They have a program where for a couple months at a time, they'll give us a code for tickets. And if you buy tickets to any game at all using that code, they give us half of that ticket price. And we actually raised like a decent amount of money, like a couple grand last year through this program. So please keep that in mind. But specifically, we would like to get everyone out just for fun. It's like the last week of school, Tuesday, May 28th, the Giants versus the Phillies at 6:45. We may have personal connections to Lucille. Your kid could be on the Jumbotron. Like, it is good times at the Giant game. So please consider coming out for that one. Put that on your calendar right now. We'll be screaming. And that pretty much wraps it up. I think I just have a homework slide of just putting those things on your calendar. And the extra credit is, people, we need you. Do not leave David to do this all himself. He barely knows what he's doing. He could really use a helpful hand and someone who's going to get everyone excited about events. So it's not too
stuff and
late.
find out over here, you know, like I don't know, man. It's the amateur hour at the Chuckle Hut. So
Yeah,
if
yeah,
you
but
are a person who's been at Daniel Webster for like, say, more than a year, and you're interested in helping out, we need a new treasurer for next year, for example. We need a new president. I'm kind of hoping to co-opt Julie into running again for administrator, but she hasn't said she's going to do it yet, which makes me very nervous.
peer pressure in
So
front of everyone.
yeah, so
Great.
you could also help me by telling Julie that she's doing great, which she is, but she's mostly behind the scenes. We got to get Julie out in front more often.
And I know that president in title sounds like a really big deal, but it is what you make it. Like, it's a team effort, and it just is, I need to emphasize, pure coincidence that I have been sort of an events person as president. The next person doesn't have to be that, or the next person could just be an events person who isn't really interested in so much of the other stuff. Like, that's cool. And I would really ask, no, beg, that if you've ever been interested in learning how to run a large scale event, I have learned how to do this through my work with the PTA. I have no professional training and I run a pretty good event. And it's a really kind of simple template at this point, but someone just needs to stand with me at an event and just kind of see how it all comes together. I would love to give the gift of continued community events to Daniel Webster in the future. So consider like really giving yourself that push and joining me helping to run circus night this year, which I can do myself, but I would love to show someone else how to get that moving. So this is a lot of begging and pleading tonight, David. Do we have anything fun to say?
Oh, Carla's kid
Carla,
accidentally did an
well,
emoji
Carla's
thing, so
raising her
she's running
hand.
all future events.
This time I am raising my hand, and I just want to reiterate, just as the former PTA president, it is actually incredibly rewarding. And to Rebecca's point, I was not an events person. And I do recall, now granted, I happened to be president during the pandemic, but I can assure you that when I became president, it was pre-pandemic. And so that was not my forte. But I can tell you that everyone comes together, makes things happen. And at the end of the day, it is incredibly rewarding because everyone just really supports each other. So I will also say, if you have ever been interested in giving back to the school, this is definitely one way to do it. And there's a great team around to support you.
Oh, thank you, Carla. That is truth. And it's just really special to be part of this tradition of DW leadership. Like, it's also fun. We really do make it fun. And, think it over. We're here with questions. We're here with thoughts, ideas, unwanted opinions, unsolicited advice. So hit us up, but feel free to go at this point and enjoy the rest of your evening, your Tuesday evening. If you are locked in a room somewhere away from your kids, and you maybe have another adult in the house taking charge of them because they think you're doing something important, you are welcome to stay
Well, that's
on.
me. That's me. That you exactly described my
Stay on. We will
situation.
talk
I'm going to
about
stay on.
cupcakes.
We have important work to do. We've got cupcakes. We got Anna's question. Yeah, we got a lot of important work to do. I'm thinking this is like a 8:30, 9
I'll
o'clock.
stay. I will stay and talk about anything.
Couldn't possibly come back and help, kind of
But thanks
situation.
all. Thanks to those of you who stayed. Let's quit the presentation mode and just see people's faces if they just want to. If you stay, we'd love to see your face. Oh, Anna, jump on in, Anna.
Yeah,
I forgot
about this co-president. Yeah, go ahead.
I forgot to mention that we will be having the Pride morning circle celebration in April. I will also be sending, sorry, in the same email, I will be sending the link to purchase the rainbow shirts. That rainbow shirt supports our Rainbow Club, and I'm a co-sponsor of that. Sorry, my throat. So last year we had the Sisters of Perpetual came and did a performance. They also went into the lower grade classrooms, read a book with the children, do a little puppet show with the kids. And just I forgot that it's not there in their calendar, but I'll let you guys know exactly. But I know it's in April, and hopefully it's before a due date to turn in our yearbook, so then those pictures are added to the yearbook. Because we have that oh my god, my throat.
Maybe you can talk to the yearbook coordinator about making that work.
Yeah. Yeah, that's me.
Oh,
Jokes
we
on me.
pissed off some families last year with the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence, and I say bring it back. I mean, it wasn't that many people, but like it's a good sign if a couple people are, you know, a little bit annoyed because the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence are
They're
powerful.
actually, we already
and-
saved a date with them.
Great.
So they're really down to, so we're
They're
just in the
amazing.
planning phase.
Yeah.
So we'll let you guys know. And it's a really fun event. It's like the Halloween, parade where the students walk out. Every classroom does like a drawing activity with the kids and supporting the LGBTQ community, walk around with posters. Last year we had students like by grade level had like a specific shirt color. So then, we kind of wanted to make the rainbow with shirts with the students. Didn't work quite as we planned, but it was very colorful. So please, have that in your radar and more
Anna,
information to come.
please send me the info as soon as you have it with the details so that I can include it in all of our upcoming slide decks, in our calendar and all that. We really want big turnout because that was a really fun one last year, and your hard work should really be appreciated by everyone being able to be there and celebrate together.
Other folks are hanging around. Anna, I will talk to you about co-president ideas some other time because I know how they do it at Star King, and I can kind of weigh in with you privately about whether that's like a good idea or not for our particular situation. But
If we
you got a
can't
bunch
get
of other
one,
people on the
will
line.
we get two? Let's see.
I know, right? It's hard enough finding anybody to do any stuff. Anyway, what do you folks want to talk about? Any concerns about budget or principal search or whatever is going on that you want to talk through?
That sounds awful. Who wants to talk about the cupcakes that I took from David's child's birthday party?
Yeah, Nicole's off to go to the cupcake place right now. It's closed
Really?
though. No problem.
Did you have those? Were you invited to that party? I was not invited.
No, I'm sorry. This is Claire's birthday party. You
How
know,
come you're not
Nicole's
inviting
kids are
everyone to
like,
your parties?
yeah, Nicole's kids are like Lulu's kids. They're like on opposite sides of Claire in
Got
one
it.
way or another, and then we like never overlap.
Yeah, well,
But
sad times.
it's basically a birthday party at my house all the time. You can see the rainbow balloons.
Wait, what?
This is no, I mean we have January, February, March birthdays, so we're just going to keep them up as long as they last.
That's so fun. That's a great plan.
Yep.
I have Christmas
did do
lights in the house year round, so I'm a big fan of just never taking stuff down if it looks fun.
Yeah, it was fun though. We did celebrate my kindergartners in Maestra Laura's class and ASAP, and we just sent him to school with like